Hi all. Today I'm going to do I guess you would call it a reverse infusion. So many months ago, you might remember I did a video on Damson vodka infusion and Blackberry whiskey infusions. I finally got around to actually decanting them, probably a little bit longer than I should have, especially with the Damsons. But there we go. So I did that a couple of days ago and just kept the lid sealed, and when I kind of drained these, there was no liquid in there whatsoever, so you can already kind of see, you know, the liquid coming back out of the fruit, and you know, you don't want to waste all of that goodness, all that alcohol that was soaked up, and indeed the fruit itself. So we're going to basically make some kind of fruity, extra strong, I guess, cider from these Blackberries in one batch and Damsons in another batch. Ended up going to Aldi, just picked up some really kind of cheap cider, so Taurus, I guess that's the equivalent of like something like Strongbow. We're going to be totally changing the, you know, the kind of the flavour profile, strength and everything basically, so I don't think it really matters. But if you've got a preferred cider, you know, feel free to kind of go with whatever you fancy, you know, whether that be, you know, more dry cider, sweet cider, you know, flat, fizzy, whatever, so take your pick. But for today, I'm going to use this, cheap and cheerful. What you could do, there's a couple of different ways you could do this. I mean, this is super simple, right? You know, just kind of pour a bit out of this for, you know, to account for the displacement, and put the fruit in the bottle, put the top back on. Just for simplicity, and, you know, to save kind of messing around with the liquids and stuff that's already kind of come out of the fruit. I'm just going to put the cider in here, but I'm going to fill it right to the top, because I'm going to reseal it, so I don't want any kind of oxygen in there. So let's get that done. I'm going to try and keep a little bit of fizz in it. So I'm going to try and not splash this when I pour it, but we'll see how that goes. How are we going to do this? Let's have a look. Can we do that? Try not to spill it everywhere. I can kind of see that. So I'm getting that right up there. There we go. It's nice and sealed. So if I remember rightly, that was a 1.5 litre Kilner jar, and I believe that was one. So taking into consideration, you know, the fruit, we've just used about around 1 litre of cider. So same again for this one, we'll see how much we get in there. And you might notice that the Damsons have gone a bit of a kind of brownie, bit of a brownie colour, and they kind of acted very similar to sloes, and indeed the Damson vodka, because I left it in, you know, infusing for quite a while, probably about 5 months altogether, a little bit longer than I'd planned. The kind of the almond flavour from the stone is really kind of coming through, so there we go, very nice. So I imagine that the almond flavour is going to come back into the cider, so we'll see. There we go. And I can actually hear this hissing a little bit, so if you've got something with a lid that you can screw on, ideally, you know, you can kind of put it back in the bottle. This is just for demonstration purposes, to be perfectly honest, and I'm not that fussed if it goes flat, because I'm quite happy with flat cider anyway. You know, if it can get a bit of fizz, great, but if not, I'm not too worried. So I'm just going to leave these for a couple of days each. This one will probably be ready quicker because the blackberries have got, you know, the little kind of fruit pockets, bigger surface area. It'll draw out the alcohol quicker, I would have thought. I'm not going into science, but that would be my guess. I reckon I could probably leave that a little bit longer, but at the end of the day, you know, this is a cider. We've already exposed it. You know, you don't want to leave it too long. A couple of days is kind of really more than enough. Otherwise, it's going to turn to vinegar. So, in fact, I can see that's leaking already. So I may well transfer this into more of a more suitable container. But like I said, for demo purposes, this is absolutely fine. So there you go. We'll taste these in another couple of days, and we'll see how we get on. Yeah, these are going to be pretty strong. And you can do the same with, you know, I kind of mentioned the slow vodka. I've done this before with slow vodka. You know, the end result is called, I believe, or at least I've heard that this is the case, slider, so slow and cider. Call these whatever you want, blider, cider, I don't know what you would call them, yeah, strong, very powerful and potent cider with a fruity kind of tinge. For the Damsons, probably a slightly almondy kind of flavour as well. These are hissing away like crazy. I'm going to transfer them into a more suitable container. I probably should have thought about this before, but never mind. I shall see you in a couple of days, and let's give these bad boys a taste. Take the time to just put them into the bottle. This is what happens when you try and take shortcuts. It never works, like, ever. So those are slows. Gonna go in a bit of a brown colour already, which is fine. And the bottle of cider is full, so I'll leave that as is. Just find a spare, you know, Coke bottle, and you can see already that you know what I mean. It's already gonna look a dark kind of purple colour, you know, from the fruit. So because of all the messing about, I'm sure this will be flat by the time I come to taste it. But like I say, you know, I'm not too fussed really. Looking forward to tasting it. I'm sure this is, especially the blackberry one, it's going to be extremely strong. Hopefully it's going to be fruity as well though. So let's cut to the tasting, shall we? Right, so here we are 3 days later. We're going to do a taste test. After kind of messing up the actual tutorial section of the video, but never mind. Like I said, you can obviously do this with flat cider anyway, so it's not too big of a deal. But what I did do after I cut is I used that other bottle of cider just to kind of top up both bottles. If nothing else, to kind of make it a little tiny bit fizzy, but also it kind of removes that, you know, big layer of oxygen that could potentially be in there. So, you know, you've only got a little bit of tiny top, and it's going to last a bit longer. So anyway, let's dive in. I'm going to be drinking this tonight, so I'm just going to have a sneak preview and do the taste test. Okay, so this is the Blackberry. So I believe, and I probably should have checked this, I think it was smoked whiskey, definitely whiskey at least, whiskey, blackberry whiskey, and we did the reverse infusion with cider, so we've got a blackberry cider. So very blackberry, you know, God, based on, I've not even tried it yet. Yeah, blackberry notes on the nose. Very strong. Good. Let's so a little tiny bit of fizz, as expected, because of the rather poor planning, preparation and methodology that I used. Rather flat. but a tiny bit of fizz, which is nice. Oh, that is really good. It's really refreshing and deceptively strong, I will tell you that right now. But what does come through is obviously the blackberries, but not in a not in a really kind of sickly way. So I know you can get some fruit ciders, which I hate, because they're just so kind of syrupy and sickly sweet, almost artificial. They probably are artificial flavourings, but this is just genuinely fruity. And cidery. So the apple cider, obviously, which is the base, is kind of taking a little bit of a backseat, but it's still there. You can tell it's still cider. Well, that fruitiness from the blackberries is really coming through, and you kind of got that underlying strength of alcohol at the end, so you know that it's no longer 5%. I'm not saying it's gone up a ton in terms of kind of ABV, although it probably has. It's probably gone up to about 7%, I reckon. I'm just kind of guessing there, but I imagine a few of these, and yeah, you'll be nicely tipsy. So I'm going to finish this one off. Very, very nice. Highly recommend doing that with your kind of leftover blackberries from, you know, the infusion. And yeah, let's get on to the Damson cider, see how that turned out. Okay, so I've just poured some of the Damson cider. You know, obviously the further you get down the bottle, the trickier it is you're going to be to kind of pour, because of obviously the fruit, and the fruit settles at the bottom. But it's no big deal. I mean, if you get a few, you know, bits of fruit in your drink, then don't worry about it. It's all vitamins, and at the end of the day, obviously nothing to worry about. So this is the Damson. It's a little bit lighter than I thought it was going to be honest, but I am going to leave this one a bit longer, you know, because the Damsons are whole, whereas the blackberries are a bit more kind of squishy. They're already started to kind of, you know, mush up a little bit, whereas the Damsons are still in good nick. I reckon they'll probably take a little bit longer, you know, for the juices and the alcohol to kind of come back out of the fruit. But nevertheless, let's taste this while we're here as well. Okay, not getting loads on the nose, although I am a little bit bunged up today, so no, I'm not getting really much at all. So let's just give it a taste. Okay. Okay, so that's not changed. Yeah, right, okay, yeah, there it is. Yeah, there's the boozy kind of kick at the end. In terms of flavour, it's not changed a ton, but I kind of expected that. Again, because the kind of the fruits themselves are just still whole, it's going to take a little bit longer for, you know, the kind of the flavour to leach out. Again, I would have thought. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of that kind of Damson flavour, kind of, and it's a strange kind of flavour, because the fruit themselves, I mean, they're very hit and miss, I find. Some are really kind of sweet, and some are quite a little bit almost bitter. But when I did taste the Damson vodka, and it's very similar to slow vodka in that respect, it's almost kind of slightly medicinal, which is an unusual kind of way to describe it, but it's the only way I can. And there's that tiny note of medicinalness on the end that's not unpleasant. I know it sounds weird, but again, I mean, and I don't know if it's just because some of the fizz has come out of it. It's actually really refreshing. There's a tiny bit of fizz left. Super refreshing. One for the summer's day, but obviously it's not going to last from January until summer, because it will turn to vinegar by then. But So I'm going to leave this one until probably next weekend. Sunday today. I'm going to have the Blackberry cider tonight. Yeah, hopefully this will last until next weekend and we'll give that a bash. We'll see whether it's changed or not. I imagine it's probably going to go a bit more of a darker colour than that over the next, over the course of the next kind of few days. But again, it's good. It's good. And the benefit is, you can kind of change that kind of basic cider into something slightly different. In the case of the Blackberry one, significantly different. And you're not wasting all of the alcohol that's kind of infused in those fruits. Plus you get the benefit of, the fruit flavours as well. So anyway, there you go. A bit of a random video. I hope you liked it. So if you did, give me a like, share, subscribe, join the channel. And yeah, we'll keep doing some slightly different videos like this in the future. Hoping to do nettle wine this year. It's just a pain in the ass to pick. Never mind. But until next time, see you guys later. Bye.